All right. Good. So, and let's just see all the camera presets are working. We have Ryan's stuff from last class. We have our easel. We have a little bit of artwork here. And then we can come back here to our class. And we'll get rid of, what is this? Move that out of the way. The other side. Okay. All right. So let me come in a little bit more. Excellent. Okay. So I think we're ready. Welcome, everyone, to our global class with Ryan Turnbull. And we are going to continue a very big discussion that we started last class with Ryan on ethics, on largely corporate ethics, corporate behavior and misbehavior, and on looking at the power in the global world tends to lie today with very large corporations that are like countries. They have revenue larger than countries, and it turns out that some of these companies have been doing some things that are just not right and unethical. And today Ryan is going to look specifically, finally, we're going to be able to break down the Volkswagen case. And we also, by the way, are lucky because something just happened in the world called this. Can you see in Nigeria and you can see in Ireland the Panama Papers? And that is something that we're going to discuss as well. So Ryan will talk about that. We'll all continue with the discussion. So I only want to make sure that we have some proper introductions of each other, and then we can begin. Ryan has a great lesson plan that he's prepared. He has some slides and other content that he will show. So first, I want to welcome the students from Nigeria, from University of Lauren. And could you please give us your names and what program you study? Go ahead.
My name is Bolaji Oda. I'm studying veterinary medicine here at University of Ilorin.
Okay, sorry, can you say that again? There was just a little problem with the audio. For what's your first name again?
Bolaji.
How do you spell that? How do you spell it?
B-O.
Yeah.
L-A-J-I.
Oh, Dolaji. Dolaji. Nice. Great. Oh, Bolaji. There you go. Thank you. Welcome, Bolaji. And Bolaji, hi, and what do you study? What's your program? Computer. Computer? Okay. Everybody. Okay, we'll move on. We'll come back to you, Bolaji. No problem. The next student besides Bolaji, what's your name and what do you study?
My name is Shei. I study geology and mineral science.
Nice. You study geology?
Yes.
Yeah. Very good. We're going to be talking about this a lot. A lot. Okay. Good. And then behind you, Shei, there's a young woman behind you. What's your name and what do you study?
Ibrahim Amina. Ibrahim Amina.
Ibrahim Amina. Ibrahim Amina. Ibrahim Amina. We have some help over here from our students here. Okay. Ibrahim Amina. Okay, great. And what do you study?
Biomedical engineering.
Biomedical engineering. Good ears. Okay, biomedical engineering. Great. Very good. So welcome the three of you from University of Lauren, and I'm going to go over now to Ireland and get some introductions there. We'll come here, and then we're going to give the class over to Ryan and begin. Okay, so folks at the University Institute of Technology, Blanchardstown, just outside of Dublin. Can you give us some names and what you're studying? Go ahead.
Hello. My name is Patrick. We're studying journalism.
Ooh, I don't know if that microphone's on. Yeah, just give it a check. It sounds like you're in a big room. Do you have the microphone there, the handheld microphone? Is it? Is there?
Hello, hello, hello,
Yeah. Good.
hello.
Yes. Good.
Can you hear me, Lon? Lon,
Yes,
can
I
you hear
can, Paul. Yeah.
me? You're
Yeah.
okay?
Oh, yeah.
Sorry about that.
No problem. So, yeah, just give the mic back. Great.
Yeah, I'm Patrick. I'm studying.
No, I think it's off. Yeah. Turn the microphone on.
No. No.
Oh, Paul, I think the microphone's. It was on when Paul was talking, but now it seems to be off. It might be.
Can you hear me now, Lon? Can you hear me now? Are you hearing me now?
I'm hearing you from the camera mic, not from the handheld mic. For a moment, I heard you on the handheld mic, and it was clear, and then not now.
No, I can see, I have the PC in me up here, so the microphone is working. I'm getting green bars on the microphone signal.
Yeah, it's a problem because it's hard to hear.
Can you hear me now? Hello? Hello?
Yes, go ahead, the student. Go ahead. Keep talking, the student who has the microphone.
Hello, this is me, Lon. Can you hear me now?
Do you want to come in front of the camera, Paul, just for a second, just so we can see what you've got there, because there's a bit of an issue. It seems to be working, and then it stops working. We'll get connected, guys. This is... Okay, go ahead, Paul.
Can you hear me? Hello?
Yeah, but it's not on the microphone. The microphone's not working now. Is it on?
Well, rather than delay, Lon, what I can do is, I'll see if we can switch over to the microphone and the camera. It may not be as good to pick up everybody. It may be a battery issue, and I'll see if I can get that sorted offline.
Oh, could you? Yeah, go ahead, and then while Ryan's giving his presentation, we'll largely be listening. So while he's listening, while he's talking, then, yeah, get the battery fixed. Okay, so I'm going to forego the introductions from Ireland just because we can't hear you very clearly, and then once the microphone is fixed, we'll come back and you can pass the microphone around and we'll continue. So I'm going to actually move on with the class while Paul tries to get the battery fixed. The most important thing is that in Ireland, you can hear me clearly, right? Nice and clear? Yeah, okay. And you heard Nigeria clearly? You heard? Yeah, good. Okay. So come on in. All right. So let's move on. And I simply just want to remind us about something before Ryan continues and really begins to address some large issues. It's great that we have students like Shay who are studying geology and understand the planet as a whole, because I want to remind us about something that global classes all deal with. And I'm just going to go over to a little artwork on the wall. And you notice where it says, in the top right of the frame, understanding the world as one whole. That's what we do in a global class, is we recognize that we live in a time when we have ample, sufficient, and a constant stream of evidence coming from space that is now showing us, without a shadow of a doubt, that we all live on one planet. And this is new in human civilization. The creatures that have lived on this planet all along, that have grown here, never had the consciousness that we do now as humans on this planet. All of us. That means in Nigeria or in Africa, the continent of Africa. It means in Europe, Ireland, Asia, Americas, all over the world. We are all united by the fact that we live on one planet. So how do we understand this planet as one whole thing? How do we live together on this planet? These are big questions. And one of the things that is really important about understanding the world as one whole is understanding who has the power. And I think a lot of us are familiar with the Lord of the Rings, the movie Lord of the Rings. Do you know in Nigeria Lord of the Rings at all? The big movie. Are you aware of Lord of the Rings? Maybe not?
Yes.
Oh, Frozen.
Yes.
Okay. Everyone's okay. So let's come back. Oh, just a sec. Yeah. Anyways, the most important thing is we have to understand who has the power on this planet. And it turns out that corporations have a lot of power, often more than governments. So what we want to do today is really understand more about how corporate power works, but particularly why corporate power often becomes corrupt. And I think that is really all I need to say by way of introduction. The only thing I'd like to add is that we're really blessed to have Ryan Turnbull with us again. Ryan Turnbull runs a firm in Canada that consults companies and organizations on how to act responsibly and act ethically. And it's a growing organization. He teaches, he consults, he does global classes, and he's a philosopher as well. He's trained in philosophy as well as ethics. So he really has a good mind for understanding the issues that we need to explore. Ryan will walk us through today a really important case of corporate corruption, and then we're going to carry on and talk about something even bigger that's happened, and that's the Panama Papers. So why don't I just do quickly, because I forgot, do you want to introduce just a few students here, and we'll go around, and then we'll go straight to Ryan, okay? My name, by the way, just for the students in Dublin or Blanchardstown and in Lorne, is Lon. I'm just Lon, L-O-N, okay? That's what you can call me. Okay, so microphone. Do you want to? Great. Can you just bring the student microphone over here? Put it in front of Colin. Yeah. Me. Because count on you. Go ahead. Okay.
My name's Colin. I'm studying Media Foundations.
Okay. Good. Go ahead.
My name's Steven, and I'm studying Health and Fitness Promotion.
All right. Any more?
Hi, my name's John, and I'm studying marketing.
Okay.
Hi, my name is Sarah, and I'm studying marketing and advertising.
My name is Natasha, and I'm in advertising and marketing as well.
Okay. We won't continue. We'll just do the front here, okay? And then we'll introduce you as you speak. Come on in, Paul. So there's just a few of the students. There are more, but they'll introduce themselves as they speak. I think we can continue. We've lost Nigeria for the moment, but they'll probably return in terms of connection. So, Ryan, I'd like to give the class over to you, and let's start our continuation of our great discussion on ethics, power, corruption, leadership. Go ahead.
Thanks, Lon. Can everybody hear me okay? Yeah? Okay, good. So last time, I think our discussion was really great. It was on leadership and the difference between leadership and ethical leadership. And we made some distinctions, and it was really interesting that towards the end of that class, there was an emerging tension. And I think that emerging tension was a great segue into today's class. So I thought maybe for a few moments, we might just reflect on that key tension. So I'm just going to throw up a quick slide.
Great.
Everybody
and you
see
also
that?
have on. Yep, let's see the slide. And just know that you also have those two lists there if you need, Ryan, for a review in our window.
Yeah, okay. That's
okay.
great.
Great.
Yep.
Good.
So I think the main question or the main tension was very clearly that I had sort of made a statement towards the end of class after all the discussion saying, and it seemed, or my statement was, can we all agree that good leadership is ethical leadership? And I think most of the students agreed with that, but there was a couple of very brave, courageous students that said, no, I don't agree with that. And I think the statement towards the end of the class was that, some students felt that to be a leader means you accomplish your goals no matter what, and that this means you have to do things that may be unethical at times.
Elena?
So to me, I thought it would be interesting and fun to start our class today for just a moment reflecting on that key tension. The question to me, in my mind was, and it was on the screen there, I'll just put it back up, sorry.
Yep.
Does leadership imply ethical conduct or unethical conduct? And that's sort of that key tension. So I thought maybe students could reflect and say a few words. The other thing I know about classes is when they're apart a few weeks or even a month, your views start to shift and change, and you hear things going on in the media, you have conversations. So I'm interested to hear if any students dug into that problem or thought more about it, or even, noticed something in the media related to it, or any reflection that you have from the last you attended it. And if you didn't attend the last session, you can just think about it now and see if you have any thoughts related to it. So does leadership imply ethical conduct or unethical conduct? Want to start off?
Okay. So, excellent. Some of this will be review, but also it will allow us to really start coming back to where we were and being able to deal with what Ryan called the emerging tension. So I just want to warn about using cell phones in the class and laptops. Just make sure everything's off so it doesn't interfere with the connection, okay? So is there anyone who wants to start the discussion here in terms of Ryan's question? Or we can go to Nigeria or Ireland? Or do I hear somebody? Did I hear Ireland? I heard something.
Did you hear us? Did you hear us?
Yeah, I heard something. It's better. Go ahead, guys. In Ireland, give it a whirl. It's still a problem, but if you can come as close as possible to the camera. It may be that the speaker, until Paul gets the microphone fixed, that the speaker in Ireland will have to come very close to the camera where the microphone is so we can hear you. Okay? Go ahead. Try that.
Let's just move on to Nigeria.
Hello.
Yes, we can hear you.
Hello?
Oh, it's still... Okay, I'll let Paul continue to adjust it. We'll move on to Nigeria, and then we'll come back here, okay? So, in Nigeria, Bolaji or Shay or Ibrahim Amina, would you like to try and answer Ryan's question?
The question, please.
Ryan, can you give me the question again?
Yeah, sure. It's really just if you had any reflections on that key tension from last time. I'll put the question back up on the screen for you. Can you see that? Does leadership imply ethical conduct or unethical conduct?
Do you want to try that?
It does require ethical conduct in leadership.
Do you want to? Can you lower the camera so we can see you? You're starting to drift off out of the frame. There we go. Nice, thanks. So, Bolaji, leadership does imply ethical conduct, or it does not?
Yes, leadership does.
Why?
Rose.
Okay, we're having problems with Nigeria's connection. Oh, good. It could be. Bolaji, try again. We just had you cut off for a moment. Why does leadership imply ethical conduct?
Why?
Because a leader now has to be
Because it does, a leader needs to have ethical conduct. Because to everything you're doing, being a leader, the followers need to take after someone. And when the leader is living a good conduct, the followers will have somebody to follow, or the right footstep to go along with.
Okay, so we're looking at a leader is somebody who provides the footsteps that we can follow in. Okay.
Exactly.
Okay.
All right, that's a start. That's good. Do any of you want to add? How should we follow that leader? Should we question that leader, or should we follow that leader with complete faith?
Is the question posed to us?
Yes.
Yeah, sorry. Yeah, we're asking you in Nigeria to start the conversation. So any reflections that you have, I think, would be helpful. So I think it's Ibrahim made the first comment, and you said that you thought leadership was ethical. So any other thoughts from you over there, and either Bolaji or Shay? Do you have any other thoughts related to the question?
Well, talking of the leadership ethics, right? When you have a leader, yes, you're obliged to follow his footsteps and follow his judgments. You should be able to trust his judgments. That's probably why he was elected or put in that particular office in the first place. But then, the leader also should be held accountable, and whatever actions it is you have to question, you should be able to answer. So that's also part of it, I believe.
Okay. Those are good thoughts. I'm wondering whether you think that. See, the key tension at the end of that last class was really key for today's discussion, because what some students implied was that if you're a leader, you have to be unethical. In other words, you have to be prepared to do things that are unethical if you're really going to be a leader in the business world. And that's the exact opposite opinion that many other people have. And it's not wrong. It's just a unique perspective on it. And I think it's worth thinking about whether we think that world leaders and political leaders, look at the Panama Papers is a great example. How many political leaders and corporations and companies have been outed in the media through the Panama Papers that are doing unethical things? They're hiding money and laundering money, in offshore bank accounts. So to me, there's an essential dilemma here that we have is how we conceive of true leadership. So I don't know. Thanks for starting it off. Yeah. Maybe I know Ireland's kind of gone offline for a second. I'm sure they'll be back alone.
Yeah.
I wonder if Durham wants to take the next few comments and give us some reflections. Oh, Dublin's back.
Sure.
Welcome back.
Okay. Good. Well, we'll come here, and then maybe we can come to your presentation as well, and that might help to also get going a little bit more in terms of bringing us back, because I think some of the students here, Ryan as well, were not here last time, and so it may take a little bit of time to get them back into the discussion. Okay. Is there anyone here who wants to add? Colin, go ahead.
I mean, this was something I was discussing after the class with someone previously, and my whole thought is, I mean, there's a difference between an ethical leader and a rational leader. I mean, an ethical lead, like the example I was giving, For example, you can save 100 people, but at the cost you have to kill one person. I mean, ethically that might be a problem. Rationally, that would make perfect sense. So, it's kind of like, it's, in a sense, sometimes it's not entirely ethical to do something, but it's rational and logical to do something.
Good point.
Interesting perspective. Yeah, I mean, I think there's a lot of different my reflection on that point is that there's all kinds of different views of what ethics means and is, and some of it necessarily implies that ethics is inherently reasonable. In other words, that humans are able to be ethical only because they're rational beings. But in your perspective that you just represented, it almost sounded like you viewed them as separate, that you could do things that are rational that may be unethical. And I think it brings up an interesting point as to how people rationalize unethical behavior. And I think we're going to dig more into that today too. So that's a really interesting comment. Thanks for that. Anybody else there in Durham want to make another reflection? Because I think that's really good.
Yeah. Paul, let me over. Come on, so we can see you, because Paul always has some interesting thoughts. Let me come. Great.
I think it's worth pointing out that you can be a good leader as long as your ethics line up with your followers. Because you could. I guess it also comes down to the question of what you mean by good leader, like good versus evil or good versus poor. Like you know what I mean. Like there's a distinction that should be made. Like some people may have interpreted a good leader as like a non-evil leader, and some people may have interpreted a good leader as a not poor leader. And I think there's a pretty good, important distinction to be made there.
Interesting. So you're saying that there's a spectrum of leadership, and depending on what the opposite is, you're evaluating it against its opposite, and therefore it changes the perspective on what leadership means. Is that right?
Well, if you're ethical leader, you're not being honest, like you're trying to hide something, then if what you're actually doing would disagree with it, then you may be considered leader, like that. But regardless, some people, if I'm losing my train of thought if he's getting that. But like there may be an unethical or that leader's followers from the start, and he wasn't being dishonest about anything. And there's nothing more to be exposed, and he could still be considered a good leader because they're doing everything that the followers want them to do. Like leading them in the direction that they want to be led in.
Okay.
I think leadership really, the only thing implied by leadership is that you have followers.
Okay, interesting. So in a way, if your followers are unethical, or your society has norms that are considered unethical in other places, that being a leader in that context would mean being unethical in a sense. That's sort of implied by what you're saying.
It may like basically what I'm getting at is you could be a skilled leader and be unethical, like Hitler or something.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's the tension. That's part of the tension we're going to explore. Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. So, and I mean, this is the key question here is if you're a really great business or political leader, and I mean, you can think about examples of great leaders, and you probably watch TV shows on them, and they're interesting. They lead these dramatic lives. Why are they so dramatic? Because there's all kinds of turmoil and power struggles and ethical issues coming up all the time. Every single day you think about a prime minister or a president of a country or a CEO of a large multinational corporation. I run a fairly small company, and I tell you, I deal with ethical issues every single day. So
Yeah.
I think it's very common for people in positions of power to struggle with a lot of ethical issues. And so, is it, and this is another interesting question that's related, is it just a matter of time before people who are in positions of power slip up and do something that the public considers unethical?
We certainly have a lot of examples of unethical conduct today in the world, and that's something we can explore, and we will. But are there any examples? Sorry, go ahead.
That's a
Ron.
good question. Yeah, why don't we actually dive in there, Lon? And that's a great segue into what I plan next, which is, do you know of any examples? Maybe we can brainstorm as a group examples of unethical behavior. The Panama Papers probably being the most recent example.
And that segues into my.
I think we've got something here. We can start a list even. Okay, so ethics with Ryan Turnbull, because I just heard. Just to help, Steve, I heard a student say here, and we're going to put it on the list, examples of unethical behavior, and the first time that came out of a student's mouth over here, Stephen, was who?
Donald Trump.
Donald Trump.
Because let's.
Oh, okay, great, interesting.
Just to say, guys in Nigeria, Bolaji and Ibrahim and Shay, do you know about Donald Trump?
Who does
Yes.
anti-preaching?
Okay, well, wait a minute. They're over in Africa. They're across the Atlantic. Don't assume that just because it's all happening here means they know. But that shows you. Okay, so very good. Then, Elora, could you please put, oh, she's already done it, unethical Trump. Okay. Okay, so we started a list, and, well, he's not officially a leader yet. But okay, so let's get some examples. He is
a leader of a major corporation. So.
That's true. Okay, so let's go. And do you want to make sure the microphone and just give your name too?
My name is Nathan.
Nathan.
A really clear-cut example of unethical behavior is David Cameron, the current Prime Minister of the UK.
For sure.
For years up until now, campaigned for banning the use of encryption technologies by UK citizens. And then now that his name was mentioned in the Panama Papers, he's evading taxes. He wants encryption and all that type of stuff protected and private. And to answer your previous question with is it just a matter of time before they do something unethical? Yeah, I think so. But to them, I don't even think they think it's unethical. I think they're so detached and they believe they're so different that they don't believe it's unethical anymore.
Okay, that's interesting. Let's save that thought too, and maybe bring that back up because that's important in our next conversation. So, thank you for that. So, other examples. There's lots of them in the media that have hit the media. So you can think of world leaders or major corporations that have been caught in unethical behavior.
Okay, we have back here. Keep going. As long as we can hear you, we don't necessarily need to see you because it's kind of hard to get. But Laura, do you want to add to that?
Sorry.
Great.
Well, just something different. I was just wondering, would Westboro Baptist Church be considered unethical? Do you know what Westboro Baptist Church is?
I know the church, but I don't know the case.
Do you want to explain? You can put the mic on the table, so it's still. I know a little bit about it, but I'll let Laura explain.
Well, really simply, there are these Christians who picket the graves of military personnel and other things, you know, like they say gays should go to hell and all this other unethical stuff, and they totally believe it. Like they think they're being ethical. So that's pretty much it summed up. If anyone wants to add to
it. Well, Laura, would you call them, if we were to put something on the list, of religious fanatics?
Sure, I can do that.
Religious, because Westboro Church is far-right Christian religious fanatics. So let's put, Westboro Church, religious fanatics. That's Interesting. Just before we continue, and we'll come to Nigeria, what's happening with Ireland coming in and out? Is it a problem at their end? Okay, so we have our technical team working with Ireland to bring them back. Let's come back. Great, Laura. Thanks. So why don't we go to Nigeria, and could you add something to the list for us? Some examples of unethical behavior of people in power.
Or companies.
Or companies.
I would say the South Korean president, Kim Jong-un.
Kim Jong-un.
North Korea.
Do we even know that much though?
North Korea. Yes, it's North Korea, not South Korea. North Korean leader. Okay. Great.
Okay. Anybody else?
Okay.
Any other companies or
Oh, we've got over here. Great. Go ahead.
Doesn't that make you a bit uncomfortable?
That's all right. You can. Yeah. We'll try to get the mic over there. Yeah. Good.
In like last few years, like the Volkswagen company, how they played around with how they made use of their company's like background and how they fooled their customers for power fuel cars, which was failing. Just to pass the test, they did like a fraud for like within the company so that they could pass the test for emission test. So like that's one of the unethical choices the company made.
Yep. Okay.
Volkswagen? Yeah. Good. We will definitely be digging into Volkswagen because that's something that Ryan wanted to talk about. That's a massive case. We have more here. Jonathan?
I was going to talk about the U.S. health insurance companies, how they deny healthcare coverage for certain citizens based on like pre-existing conditions.
Mm-hmm.
So how would we, should we put on the list for Laura in terms of that?
We could just put some like insurance companies.
Insurance companies. Okay, great. The insurance companies are they're transnationals. These are big companies that span many countries and continents. They're like oil companies. They're like electronics companies. These are big transnationals. Okay, so insurance companies can be unethical. We've got more over here. Right, we've got great Natasha.
Okay.
Don't wait for the mic. I think we'll try it without. It's okay if you can.
So this is something that's happening in Zimbabwe. The first lady is trying to fight her way by threatening the government to make her the president, to take over after her husband.
Can you tell us a bit about, so the Zimbabwean first lady?
Yes.
You can put the mic on the table. Yeah, it's okay.
So her husband has been president for God knows how many years. And
Robert Mugabe.
Yes. And technically she's trying to fight her way to become the president, and she's been threatening other members of parliament, those who are running to be president, to step down so that she takes over.
Oh, what a case. Guys, in Nigeria, are you aware of what Natasha just mentioned that's happening south of you in Zimbabwe with Robert Mugabe? No? Interesting.
Probably South Africa. Most of it is South Africa that is taking part of it.
But it's Zimbabwe, so essentially we have a president who has been in power there for a long time. He's like almost 90 years old now. He's very old.
Yeah.
And he's trying to force things so that his wife will take over from him.
Right.
Wow. He's trying to, because he's getting old.
Mm-hmm.
And so he wants to make sure his wife continues on. Ooh, that's a nice case. That's juicy. Okay, let's put Zimbabwe. So I think we're getting a good list for you, Ryan, to work with. Is there anything else you'd like to add, Ryan, in terms of that list, or maybe we can?
Yeah, I've got a few to add here if I can get my 1 second here. So I'll put the slide up. So here's some examples that I thought of, and most of them are companies, and just a few.
Sure.
I won't go into detail about all of them, but the BP oil spill had a $20 billion settlement. I would add that to the list. Of another famous major ethical breach or scandal was J.P. Morgan Chase. They had a $13 billion settlement. That's from being sued for all kinds of things. But a few others are Enron, Hollinger International, which is the company that Conrad Black ran and purchased a lot of the newspapers, amassed a fortune that then started paying himself and others significant sums in the hundreds of millions of dollars, taking that money out of those corporations or out of those companies. Tyco, WorldCom, and the Freddie Mac scandal are all really big ones that you might not have heard of, but if you look them up, they're on the top 10 list for biggest sort of scandals in the last 10 years.
Maybe we should have Laura just add under Hollinger, there are many.
Yeah.
I mean, listen, we're living in an interesting time of a lot of information and also a lot of secrets. And we assume that just because there's more information, we know everything, maybe people are getting better at covering things up. Anyways, let's, keep going, because it's great to have the examples. And we're going to struggle with Ireland. Usually the connection is great, so something must be happening with bandwidth, but we'll just keep going. And I just wanted to add for the students in Nigeria, Hollinger, for Nigeria, Hollinger was a Canadian company. Its creator and president, he served time in jail in the United States. And he's always claimed he's innocent, but a lot of these people do. But he's now back in Canada, and he is a very interesting person. His name is Conrad Black, and we may refer to him. He's a very well-known Canadian businessman who was tried and convicted for crimes in the United States and served about 3 or 4 years there. So he's been in jail, and he now is back and writing extensively about how he's still innocent, and it's an interesting case, but I don't think he's innocent. But anyways, we'll explore that. So Ryan, how would you like to continue in terms of sort of trying to understand what all these cases?
Well, I thought maybe we could dive. Yeah, sorry, Lon. I think we could dive a little bit more into the Volkswagen emissions scandal and talk about a few of the facts. I don't want to talk too much, but I will just mention a few of the facts, and then what we can do is dive into a conversation about the causes of unethical behavior, because I think that's where we're going to have our learning moments for the day. Those are sort of the key. That's the key kind of conversation that we want to get to. So let's just let me do a quick kind of factual overview.
Okay, great.
So a few of the facts here is September 18, 2015, the U.S. Environmental Protection Agency issued a notice of violation of the Clean Air Act.
Ryan, can you just full screen the PowerPoint? Can you just press your icon full screen so we can see the PowerPoint?
Yep. Can you see that better?
Yes, but just make it full screen. There we go. Perfect. Thank you.
Does that work?
Yep. Great. Go ahead.
So we're going to talk about the Volkswagen emissions scandal. I'm not going to talk too much, but I'll just give a few facts. So September 18, 2015, they violated the Clean Air Act, and the EPA issued a notice of violation. The evidence showed that Volkswagen, that it intentionally programmed its turbocharged direct injection diesel engines to basically activate emission controls during laboratory emissions testing. So basically what that's saying is that they intentionally set the mechanics up of this turbo direct injection in order to circumvent or get around the emission testing. So when the cars are tested, the nitrogen oxide outputs met the U.S. standards in the lab. So when they're tested right off the line, they meet the standard, but when they're driven on the road, they're they emit 40 times the amount that they do in the lab. So, way beyond the standard for emissions. So they got around that. And I think this is a really big fact to know about, is that the programming was installed in over 11 million cars worldwide. So this wasn't an isolated incident or a mistake. It was intentionally designed into their vehicles and was mass produced all over the world in 11 million cars. So this is a really big example of unethical behavior that's hit the media recently. Everybody's heard about it. I know that throughout the conversations we've had, there's been echoes of this because it's been going on in the background and deserves some consideration and thought. So a couple of things that I'll mention here before we dive into the causes of this. So there's serious consequences for the company. If you look at their stock price on September 18th, or when it was actually announced in the media that they had this violation from the EPA, their stock price dropped immediately. On exactly the September 21st, you can see like a cliff.
Yeah, absolutely.
Where their stock price went down in one day, 18.6%. So and it kept plummeting and didn't really level off until quite a while later. So here's a couple of other facts. Oh, I just noticed my slide is slightly off here.
Just to be clear about a really stunning fact, 11 million cars worldwide were deliberately installed with this equipment that concealed the true emissions. 11 million.
Yep. 11 million is a pretty high number, Lon. So just a couple other facts here is the fallout from this, from them getting caught, is that the U.S. Department of Justice, I just lost my PowerPoint. I don't know what happened. Can you still see it?
No.
Oh.
We
Okay,
can continue if it's.
Yeah. So I'll just
okay?
continue and I'll get it back up in a second. The U.S. Department of Justice is actually entitled to fine the company $37,500 per vehicle. And if you add that up, in the U.S. alone, that adds up to $18 billion in fines. So that's just in the U.S., and you think about all the other cars that are being driven in other countries and jurisdictions that would also, probably come with fines. So the other thing that's really important to note here is that diesel fumes have been definitively linked with lung cancer and even asthma and other conditions, because the fumes, nitrogen dioxide, contain small particles that get into our lungs. In the UK alone, they've estimated that there's 29,000 deaths linked to lung cancer, which we don't know they're not just from diesel fumes, but there's a case here for actually, charging Volkswagen with, significant health consequences, that they've been the cause or a contributor to a number of deaths. So that's a very real situation for them. Volkswagen committed to spending $7.3 billion in US dollars to rectify the issue and have a major recall campaign to refit each vehicle. And now that awareness has been raised on the issue, it's cast doubt on other automobile manufacturers. So,
right. Yeah.
So the thing that we need to do here and to dive into is, how do we explain an ethical breach of such magnitude within such a company that was, viewed for many as being an exemplary company in terms of its sustainability and its commitments. Volkswagen actually won numerous awards for being a sustainable and environmentally friendly company many years in a row, and then all of a sudden we learn about 11 million vehicles. It's sort of, it's really, I think where we want to dig in here is to hear from students as to what they think happened and how does this sort of thing happen in a large company. And what are your thoughts on that?
Great, Ryan, for walking us through. Now we're really tackling something that I think is directly relevant to all of us because we know about these cars and we've even owned them. So first, we're now going to start dealing with a very serious case of corporate corruption. First, let's see if Ireland is back with us. How's your audio there? No? Okay.
Can you just
I
speak?
think...
Hello?
Yeah. Take the microphone, the handheld. Let's see.
What if I stand over here?
Can you hear us?
Second. Yeah.
Hello?
I heard you, Paul. Just give that microphone to somebody. That was good.
Can you hear me now?
Yep.
Beautifully. Yeah. Yeah.
You can hear me now?
Can you hand that?
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. It's great. So, can you hand that microphone to somebody there?
Yeah, I'm
And see
sorry
how-
about this, Long. We have an IT technician working on it in the background. Apologies to Ryan and all.
It happens. I could tell you a lot worse about global classes in the past. Don't worry about it. This is normal. Okay. Go ahead. Let's see. Could you give your name and?
Can you hear me now?
Yes, we can. Yay.
Yeah.
Hi, guys.
Ireland is with us. Way to go. Okay. Now, here's the thing. I'll help you. Okay. I'll help you. What's your name? What's your name again?
Allison.
Oh, Allison. Great. Okay. Allison, did you hear Ryan's question clearly about Volkswagen case, and you know exactly?
No,
what
we
he
did
was
not.
asking? Okay.
No.
Did you hear the background on
Yeah,
Volkswagen
some of
that
it.
he just? Oh, all right. Here, I'm going to give you a question. First, do you drive a Volkswagen, or do you know anybody who does?
Yep.
You do? He does. Great. Allison, please hand the microphone to him. Yeah. Okay. Now we're getting somewhere. Just a second. What is your name?
Patrick.
Patrick. Okay, Patrick. Patrick. Ryan and I, and now the rest of the students here, are going to be very interested in your thoughts. First of all, how long have you had a Volkswagen?
Last December or so.
Uh-huh.
December last year.
Okay. And are you aware of the whole case that Ryan just described about? So
The
why are you
emissions.
still? Yeah. Why are you still driving your Volkswagen?
Well, my sister drives it most of the time, and I haven't got my license yet.
Uh-huh.
It's got you from A to B,
So-
like.
Why is your sister still driving? Why didn't your sister say, to hell with Volkswagen? This company is massively corrupt. I don't want to give them a cent of my money again.
I don't know. She needs it to get to work and stuff. So she needs it to get to work.
Yeah.
She needs. Now.
She needs a car to get to work, and that was the one she chose. So.
What do you think about Volkswagen and the fact that they deliberately did this?
I didn't really pay attention to it's just a car. What was in my head is it's just a car, so I just buy the car and drive it. I don't really think of the company or whatever ethical or unethical stuff they're doing. Just as one
Okay.
from B.
Interesting.
Yeah, I think that's changing more and more.
Just a car.
People are looking at the ethics of a company when they purchase things. But I agree that it seems like many people like yourself maybe don't even consider those things when they make a purchasing decision. That's common. So you're not alone. You're not alone.
Sure. Allison, I think you want. Yeah, go ahead.
Well, I think for some people it's cheaper to keep that car and just ignore the ethical issues behind it instead of replacing it for another car?
Recession.
Because, I mean, but it's just, cars are expensive. Is what I'm trying.
That's fair. And
yeah,
go ahead. Now that we can hear you clearly, it's getting. Oh, and now we're even going to get a close up. Looks like the camera's moving in a bit more. We might even be able to see what type of coffee you're drinking. You know, what type of phone you have.
It's good
what's
coffee.
lying on. It's good coffee. I can speak from experience, having been in Dublin not too long ago, and really loved the city. The coffee was good too. So, but looking forward to going back. So, Alison, do you want to add anything to these thoughts about? So, you know, it's just a car and it's cheap, and who cares about the consequences to the rest of the world?
I mean, I didn't necessarily say that.
Okay, that's true. I'm putting words in your mouth. Yeah, I shouldn't do that.
I think what I'm saying is, I think for some people, the cost of replacing a car outweighs the cost of maybe ignoring some of your moral
morals. Yeah. No, I hear you.
Exactly.
And it's probably easier to ignore those things and just go about our normal sort of purchasing behavior and consumerism. But it's interesting because the global trend is that's really shifting and changing, and that there is more attention and more awareness and more conscious consumerism happening. So it's when things like this hit the media and we're not talking about a really minor infraction here. They didn't make a mistake on 10 or 20 cars that came off the assembly line. They intentionally manipulated every single one of their emission tests and every single one of their consumers, and branded themselves and took on awards and recognition for being an ethical, sustainable company. Meanwhile, all the while, they knew that they were circumventing these tests and that there is major health consequences associated with those emissions. So they're breaking the law, they're breaking standards. Like, how do we? It's not so much to me about whether you choose to drive a Volkswagen or not for this conversation, because I mean that's an important aspect. But I'm really interested to hear what students think about how can this happen. How can something of that magnitude actually happen? How do we explain it? You know, it's not clear cut. I'm interested to hear what you think. Yeah.
Do you want to get the microphone over there? So, because sorry. That's not good. And go ahead, EC.
That's how it happens. It's people become greedy and they just fail to acknowledge the fact that what they're doing is unethical. So it's just all about greed.
It's all about greed.
Yeah, something.
Okay. All right.
Paul?
No, I was just going to say I don't claim to know exactly how to run a company that builds and engineers cars or anything, but it could just be that the people calling the shots would have had specific demands about the actual specifications of the vehicle, and they would tell the engineering team to just make it happen, do what you need to do to make it happen, and they may be saying, oh, it's impossible, we can't do that, and the people calling the shots could say, I don't care, just make it happen, do what you need to do, kind of thing. It could be something just like that, where it's just failure to communicate causing somebody to just say, oh, I don't care anymore, I'm just doing this, It could be caused by something just as simple as that.
Okay. Sure. Those are good.
I see in Ireland a hand up. I see in Dublin a hand up. Go ahead.
Yes. My name is Claudia. I was here in the previous one.
Yep.
And I was thinking that as well as the reasons why this could have happened is because Volkswagen probably realized how their consumers don't realize the amount of power that they have, each consumer is thinking of themselves like individually, that I don't have enough voice to voice this out, or if someone else can say it's not me. So since no one's speaking up, they feel like they can do this and get away with it. So they allow themselves to get greedy, and they allow themselves to do what they want to do. And unfortunately for them, it got leaked. But still, the consumers aren't saying as much as they should. And that's why I think they're getting away with most things. That's why this is happening.
It's great. It's a great point, Claudia, because basically you're saying, and I do like to put things in a sometimes dramatic, stark way just to light a fire, in a classroom, and then Ryan and I will put the fire out with the hose, or we'll try. So, just a second, Claudia, are you suggesting that ultimately the responsibility lies with the individual consumer, and if the individual consumer is stupid or ignorant and uneducated and doesn't want to take on anybody in power, then these people in power are just going to roll right over us because they know that we're never going to challenge them. We just want our own little lives. We want our own little car. And they'll manipulate us and make a lot of money off our ignorance and our timidness.
Well, of course, because in every business, the consumer is the main focus. Well, should be the main focus, and the consumer is what keeps the business going. If the consumer is not happy with the product can't be kept being developed or can't be sold, or being built on. So it's at the end of every business, at the end of the day, the consumer should be the main focus because they are the money. So if the consumer is not speaking up and saying, this is what we want, we're not happy with this, they're going to keep on doing what they want and keep selling it to the consumer the way that they want to sell it. So unless consumers open up their mind and say, we want the honest, we want the truth, this is how we want things done, or we're not happy with this service, they're not going to do much about it. They're going to do as they please to keep on making their money. And us consumers, we're going to keep on buying into what they're feeding us and giving them money.
Great comment.
Wow.
I think you're very passionate about that perspective. You go, girl. What I was thinking is maybe we could start a list, Lon, in Durham if we could flip that paper over and. I think we've heard a couple things now that are really significant.
Just write it underneath the other stuff. It's good. Yep. Okay. So what would you like the Laura to?
Well, so it's causes of unethical behavior is the list we're making.
Causes.
And, Greed was the first comment. Well, I'll give you a second there to get caught up, but.
Okay. Great. And Lauren, start thinking about what your answers might be to this question. We're going to come to you shortly. Okay. We're starting to dig nicely into this now, and the technology is working for us. So
okay, so before we go on, Ryan. So we had greed. Someone mentioned greed was the first comment, so maybe you can write that down. And leadership has demands on them, or demands. Maybe it's demands on leadership is a good way to write that.
Demands on leadership. Okay.
Yeah.
Pressure. Yeah. Demands, pressures. Certain pressures or demands. Demands is good.
And then the last point, I think, was that consumers are powerless or are perceive themselves as powerless? Or how would you put your point? It was Claudia, right?
Claudia's point, yeah. Claudia, what should we put? Yeah. Go ahead, Claudia. What word should we put? Because we're making a list now that sort of crystallizes what you said. So we could put it on the causes of unethical behavior is consumer timidness?
Naivety, yeah.
How about indifference?
Oh, naive?
Consumer indifference or something.
Consumer indifference. Indifference. Yeah, just
and
indifference.
Lack of power.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, no. And powerlessness.
Yeah.
But it's funny because the powerlessness may just come from the fact that we think we're powerless, but in fact, that's not true. We're just indifferent.
Exactly.
And we cover that up and we say, oh, we can't do anything. But the truth is, we don't care. We just want our own small lives and let, Big Daddy take care of us.
Can I also add to that?
Anyways,
because I think it may also be related to a lack of awareness, and I wonder what people think about that, because consumers weren't aware that VW was doing this. So to me, I don't think we can put the responsibility on the consumer until they know about it. So maybe Patrick, you're now Patrick in Dublin there. Maybe now you're kind of on the red chopping block. Because, anyways, okay, so there looks like there's other comments there in Dublin, and Allison?
Me? Go ahead.
Hello?
Go ahead, Patrick. Yep.
I was just saying, in terms of Volkswagen, however you pronounce them, would they not be they're smart in a way? I know it was unethical, but they were kind of smart because the people who they're selling their cars to, like normal individuals, we don't know how the engine works or how it's polluting the air or whatever. We just want a fully functioning car, if you get what I mean. So they're kind of smart in that way, and it lasted for a while. It's few years now they've been making cars like this, and it's only now that we're all realizing that it's bad for the environment. So.
Sure. Allison, go ahead.
Yes. I think that a lot of consumers are very trusting of businesses, and they'll kind of keep continuing with their purchasing from certain businesses until there's a scandal, but no one bothers to do any research before they buy something from a company. There's a level of trust.
Do you want to, EC?
I'm just.
Go ahead. EC wanted to add to this? Yeah?
It's the last comment, no one bothers to do research before they buy anything. I feel like we should all research things before we actually buy it, or at least get someone who knows a little about what, if I'm getting a car tomorrow, if I don't know too much about it, I'm gonna ask my dad for advice or my mom or look it up. We can't keep being ignorant and
For sure.
We can't keep being ignorant. That's just gonna
I think Shay has a comment in Nigeria.
Yeah,
to hear
for
from
sure.
Shay.
Yeah, good. Shay, go ahead.
Being ignorant means you actually know there's something wrong and you're not paying attention to it at the time. Well, I would say the information should be better passed to those of us who don't even know at all. The consumers should be better informed about such consequences of, for example, the carbon emission on the environment. Not everyone knows the consequence of having a car that emits so much carbon into the environment and the health implications of such actions. So I feel even the consumer should be informed on the consequences of their actions in time of future incidents regarding any other company. Could even be waste management or any other thing, green energy, renewable energy, not just the car companies exactly. Even the energy companies also, the petroleum companies also, we consumers, we're not well informed on the consequences of these things happening in our environment. So yes, I would say we also should be better informed about what should go on with what we use.
Sure.
So that's a great point. How do we put that up on the paper as a cause? Is it the lack of information that's available? Because that might be a way to put it up as a cause.
Yes.
What should we write, Shay? Yeah, Shay. Could you please tell Laura what to write on the list? Go ahead.
Inadequate information to the consumers. Yes.
Okay.
Inadequate information.
Yes, because there's a form of information, yes, but it's not enough. It's not actionable.
Shay, can I just ask? Is it okay, Ryan, if I just ask Shay a question about this? Because
sure.
it's a really interesting. Shay, you're in Nigeria. You're in Lauren. Not far from Lagos, just north of Lagos. And we have students from Ireland in Dublin or in an area just outside of Dublin in Blanchardstown, and there's students here in Canada. I'm really curious to see what the answer to this question is going to be. In terms of information, Shay, and inadequate or adequate information. Whose responsibility is it for that information? Is it the responsibility of the company to give us better information, or is it the responsibility of us, the consumer, to demand that information?
Or the government.
Who's responsible here for this information?
Okay, well, we the consumers would immediately know how the heads up that there is a consequence to what we're doing, right? But then I'll use the example of how it came about. Smoking. On every cigarette pack, you see smokers are liable to die young. How did that come about? It came about the government issuing every company to inform the consumers of that product, of the consequence using that product. So yes, such research, such tests and governing of such companies by the government, by the authorities, would be fine. So I'll put it on the leaders. Yes, we don't have the power to research into how much carbon a Volkswagen vehicle would use. So I would feel like the government is more equipped to actually, research on that and inform us on that. So in the event of such event like the Volkswagen covering the way through the test, I would say that it would be on the government to impose it in the laws of how these companies operate in future on how much information is shared with the public. If it has to be total, yes, it's perfect that way. That way,
Sure.
consumers get to know. Because I feel the companies themselves might be a little bit negligent or ignorant to the information they want to share with the public. So if the government imposes it on the companies to actually share the information with members of the public to be aware of such consequences, well, I feel that will be fine. So yes, it should be from both. In fact, all parties. I would say all parties have their responsibilities here. But first, it has to start from the government.
Sure.
From those who are directly responsible down to the companies. Then we, the consumers, who seem to have little or no knowledge about the consequences.
Thanks, Shay.
It's a great answer. Go
I can
ahead,
tell
Ryan.
you're very passionate about that position, that it's up to the government to regulate. And I think just to add to your point is there's articles that have been written on the inadequacy of the regulatory policies and the enforcement of the regulations that are related to emissions testing. One of the criticisms of the system in the UK was that that the vehicles are only tested when they come off the assembly line and not regularly after they've been driven. So, in fact, many cars on the road today pass the initial emissions tests. And the product information we see when you go to buy a vehicle and they have the information on its fuel efficiency, it actually is. I'm getting a bit of an echo here.
Just a sec. I know. Simon, we've got someone on this.
I'm here. Looks like someone has tapped in with a webcast while you're on video somewhere.
Okay. If somebody is watching the live stream in the class right now, could you turn off your computer?
Okay, it's coming from Nigeria. I had to mute them.
Okay,
So it
sure.
it might be
That's
just
better.
a glitch.
Yep, no problem.
Okay.
So Ryan, sorry, carry on.
Yeah, no, I was just substantiating the fact that I think many people around the world have looked to the enforcement and the standards and regulations as being one part of the cause of the Volkswagen. I mean, that's not to take away the responsibility from Volkswagen itself, of course, but I think to further substantiate Shay's point that has been a common criticism is that if these vehicles had been tested more regularly, more rigorously, and these standards enforced better, that this would have been caught a lot earlier before 11 million vehicles got into circulation. So good point, Shay. Thank you for your passion too. And I think in Dublin there's quite a few hands that shot up. So I know Paul's in the background with the microphone. Maybe he wants to make a comment.
I just make one point, maybe a question, Ryan. As part of our studies here on business leadership, we've been studying groupthink, and I'm just wondering on your views in terms of answering the question, how could this happen? Do you have a view that, that the management were engaged in this form of groupthink, that they were benefiting from it, and they felt they were okay to continue doing this, and they rejected any notion that it might be wrong to do it, and so the whole idea that it was okay to do it sort of propagated through the organisation?
Great question, and I think that's one of the things on my list that I was hoping we would talk about as the causes of unethical behavior. So groupthink is a great...
Thanks, Paul. Yeah.
No, but let's make sure that people understand what that actually means, because people throw that term around a lot, and I'm not sure everyone understands what groupthink is. So does anybody have an understanding of that and what it means?
Here we have it over here. Come back. Oh, just a sec, Colin. Go ahead, and you can talk. You can hear it on this.
It's basically kind of synonymous with dogma, basically group dogma. Basically, everyone shares the same ideas without question. If you're part of a group, then you kind of feel obligated to agree with that group. Like if it's basically kind of peer pressure, in a sense. If everyone else believes something, then you're like, oh, well, I guess I believe it too. And you don't question anything that they say.
Yeah.
You just go with it.
There's actually another name for it too. It's called the acquiescence bias. It's where everybody just agrees with what's going on.
Let's get that. And now we have to spell acquiescence, which is not, this is getting into a spelling bee here. Okay, here we go with acquiescence, which is acquiescence. I'm going to divorce myself from this conversation. I don't want to look like an idiot, but I can. So acquiescence, I'll try. Okay, I don't want to make the students like A, C, Q, U, I, E, S, C, E for echo. E N N C E. Acquiescence theory?
No, bias.
Oh, bias. Oh, we can spell that, right? B-I-A-C. Oh, no, sorry, yes. Acquiescence bias. Go ahead, Ryan. That's a great term. Can you explain a little bit about that?
Yeah, it's often looked at in group or sociology when you're talking about even statistics and how people answer surveys, and there's something called the social desirability bias, which comes into play when people know what the right answer is. And I think in groups, similarly, there's this, the groupthink is a great broad term for how people rationalize thinking in the same way in a group. And there's different symptoms of that that we could actually explore a bit. I'll mention maybe a couple of them. There's
Ryan, before you continue, I just want to make one thing clear. We have 4 minutes left, if you can believe it. And
no, only 4 minutes.
I know. Well, yes, it's always, we can continue a little bit, but I just want to make sure, in terms of time, we need to end here. I know. Exactly. This is this can happen, but we're going to have another class, Claudia. I promise you. It's just the technology was a little rough going today. But hold on a second. Can I just check something with my class? Because this is our final class of the semester, and we were supposed to have presentations after.
God.
But
It's the last class.
but hold on. Stick with me for a second. I know Jonathan isn't going to do a presentation today, so we've got who came here getting ready to do a presentation, and who came here and whose heart would be broken if you didn't do the presentation, but just handed it to me afterwards. No problem? That's fine. Your heart would not be broken? I think you even emailed me and said, okay, so no broken hearts here if no presentations, which means we can spend a little more time, another 10 minutes or so, working this through, and because we're really now in it. Now we're having the class, and we're having the right discussion, and it's focused, and it's great. And we're getting a terrific list. You know, Laura's got the list going, so we've got some learning going on here. So let's do this and finish this, okay? So 10 more minutes. We're going to continue, and we're going to... everyone good? Are you okay in Nigeria? 10 more minutes? Fine? Great? Okay. So Ryan, go ahead.
Great. So I was just going to mention a couple of other symptoms of groupthink, so the ways in which you can recognize it. When a group stereotypes an enemy, like they're up against somebody else in the marketplace. So for a company, if they kind of demonize and stereotype their competition, you can often, that's when you know you're getting into groupthink. Peer pressure is another aspect of groupthink. Self-censorship, when people are censoring what they really think on a regular basis. So there's this lack of open dialogue. And illusions of invulnerability are other, oh, geez, I'm talking fast and you're trying to write it all down.
This is
My
good.
apologies.
Well, yeah, our list is, but just a second. Now we're really getting it. So just peer pressure and then illusions of vulnerability.
Invulnerability.
Wow.
Invulnerability. Make sure you get it with invulnerability. So it's the illusion of not being vulnerable, that you're impervious to.
Sure.
I think they that's why they kept that foot hidden.
And also, it's interesting. The illusion of invulnerability would be at the power level of the company that believes that they're untouchable. You know, that they're not going to get. Nobody's going to find out the truth.
That's right.
I might add too, just a thought, illusions of vulnerability, which is the consumer believing that they're this little ant and they're vulnerable, and there's no point trying to do anything because they have no power.
I'm not sure that happens in the company, though. That I agree with you that.
Yeah,
that
I'm talking about the consumer. Okay.
Yeah.
Anyways.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think that happens internal in the organization or the company. So.
All right. Sorry. Go ahead.
So, so to go back to the conversation here, to think about other ways in which companies can behave in such unethical ways. Groupthink is one we could probably talk a lot more about if we wanted. I've given you a few sort of symptoms of it, and I think we've defined it as a group. That may be enough for now. But what other causes of unethical behavior might there be think about a large company and think about yourselves working. How many of you have actually worked in a large corporation before? Anybody that's worked in a large corp? I put up my hand. Okay, so not
everyone here. Yeah.
I don't know what the percentage would be, but it seems like a number of people in Nigeria have worked for large corporations. So have you, in your experience of working in those companies, have you felt pressure to do things that are unethical before? And can you give us an example?
Shay or Bolaji or Ibrahim? You want to try?
I think someone had...
I had my internship at Schlumberger, and while working there, I felt they were so specific and so hell bent on ethical issues, on how to operate. It was an everyday thing, so I guess I didn't even have the chance to do anything unethical. So I guess it was fine.
Okay, that's good. How about in Dublin? I saw the girl in the front there with the glasses had her hand up. What's your name?
Emina.
What was it? Emina?
Yeah.
Okay. And what was your experience? Did you have an experience in a large corporation?
No, not really. But I did work for one.
You do work for one?
Yeah.
Okay, so tell us about it.
Oh. Yeah, I'm okay. Yeah, I work for McDonald's. So that.
Now, let me just to protect the student here. Hold on a second, just to protect the student, because I'm always have the student. I just want to make sure the student's about to give an opinion, working for a big corporation, and this is also being broadcast and is on the internet. I do want to make sure that we get an honest answer, but I also want to make sure that the student, if this gets into McDonald's hands, they're not going to come down on her if she says something really hard. Okay, I want to make sure. You know, this is a class, but we're also on an online forum, and you know, this stuff can get around. So, okay, be aware, Emina, but I'm sure it'll be fine. But just, why don't you tell us then what you want to tell us?
Oh, I don't want to.
Give it to Mr.
Okay, Allison, you want to go ahead? Do you want to continue?
I didn't have any ethical issues with McDonald's.
Yeah, she also works there.
I also worked there.
Okay.
At McDonald's? At McDonald's.
What, unethical? I didn't do anything unethical. I mean, not when I was working with McDonald's.
Sorry, Lon, just Paul here again.
Yeah.
One of the things that strikes me from my experience in working in different organisations is I suppose the culture of the organisation and the values that it espouses. Are people challenged on a daily basis to live good lives in terms of their work? You know, I think if that's very strong in an organisation, the chances that people will stray are probably reduced, not eliminated. But I think the other thing is having appropriate controls, that there are checks and balances within the organisation when people make decisions about different things. That has been my experience.
Sure.
Okay. So would that be another cause that we could put down of unethical behavior, is not having checks and balances in place?
Yeah, that is a good. Do you want to flip? Or you can write, okay, so lack of checks and balances. We'll make sure that this list gets posted on the Global Class. Allison, go ahead. We've got 5 minutes, by the way, guys, if we're going to stick to our 10-minute plan. So lack of checks, but go ahead.
This is sort of off topic, I guess. I've worked in both the restaurant McDonald's, but also in the head office for a little while, and felt like there was a lot of, I guess, ethical practices in it, and which I think proves that it's not impossible for a company to be both unbelievably successful and also ethical. And I think that there's practices that maybe other companies could adopt to make themselves more ethical.
Mm-hmm.
Good point.
Yeah, it's a great comment.
All I got.
Yeah.
That's all you got, but that's great. Yeah.
Yeah. Thanks, Allison.
That may be a segue into another conversation for another day, which is, after we explore the causes of unethical behavior, is how do you create a culture of an ethical environment or an ethical climate within an organization. And there's lots I could say about that, but I think maybe we could save that for another day. But point well taken. Yeah, there's lots of companies out there breaking the mold and becoming more truly sustainable and ethical in their everyday practices. So, but just to go back to the core question here is, what other causes are there of unethical behavior?
Well, I'm going to say, Ryan, just for the sake of time, only because we have a lot, we have a very rich list here. Unless you want to add something, look at this list of causes of unethical behavior. I mean, maybe we should just stop with this list, quickly review it, and then, wrap the class, unless you would like to add something major at this point that we've missed.
Yeah, there is a couple of things I'd like to add that I think we've stepped over. One of the causes not intentionally, of course, but I think there's a couple of things we've missed, and they're important to remember. I think secrecy is,
yeah, for sure.
Like deceit and secrecy as norms within a company. When companies have a lot of closed door conversations and there's this feeling that there's conversations being had that are not open conversations. That's a sign or a cause.
We're getting this one in nice red. Oh, well, it comes out as black, but over here it's in red. Everything else has been in black. Now we've written secrecy in red. But anyways, it may show up. Okay, so...
Okay, and there's a couple of other ones that I'd like to just mention. Another one is where managers undermine integrity. So you might have to put that on a separate sheet because I don't know how to fit it on there, but...
Well, we can write it out in a big, on the following sheet, Elora, flip the sheet and just go, lack of integrity. Lack of integrity?
Yeah, it's more than that, though. It's when leadership undermines integrity. So managers... Think about this case when there's a policy that's company-wide and everybody's following it except the people at the top. Right? And that happens quite often in large companies where the people that know how to break the rules are the ones at the top, and they set the tone for the entire organization to then eventually it erodes the integrity of the organization.
No, that's very true. Yeah, it's good.
Yeah, and the last one that I'll mention, and I have a few more, but I'll keep it minimal here because I don't want to. But stress. Stress.
Stress.
I think, stress is a really big one as well, and I think we need to acknowledge that that there's lots of stress. Really disrupts the regular behavior of people, and under stress, what are the things that break down? It's often communication is the first thing that they stop communicating and they stop considering and rationalizing, deliberating. And really bringing up, they just do, and that can be majorly problematic within a company.
You know, that's a really disturbing thought because as a way of sort of wrapping here, Ryan, just to kind of bring it together, is that I suspect if I asked everyone here, and I include myself, would you say that your day is stressful? Every single person would say yes.
Yeah, all the time. Don't.
You know, stress is, I'm just. And
YOLO.
I just want to check this. Is that fair? Alison, is that a fair thing to say about all of you in Dublin that, you're always stressed? Is that true?
Yeah.
No, it's not because you just YOLO.
I live at a constant level of stress.
It's just YOLO. Okay, just a second. And then Shay and Balaji and Ibrahim, would you say that your life is stressed?
Yes.
Yes.
Enough.
Okay.
Yeah.
So now, here's my observation. If a lot of us are under stress, then how do we make good decisions and make ethical decisions and make sure that we can ensure that our leaders are also making good decisions if we're so stressed? How do we make sure that we're not manipulated? And so maybe we need to be less stressed, and therefore we can be more attentive. Right? Does that make sense?
Yeah, I
Ryan,
think Alison
does that
had
kind
a
of make
comment.
sense?
Oh yeah, it
Sorry,
makes sense.
who? Okay.
Alison had a comment in Dublin.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Alison.
Well, I think if you should set in guidelines for people so that they don't have to make, I guess, big decisions and have their emotions only affecting the outcome of their decision. That was really nowhere.
Okay.
Can you rewind that thought and try again and just give us that thought
Yes.
again?
Thank you.
About our personal...
I think
Try it.
definitely in large companies there should be things put in place to prevent people from having their emotions and their stress affect big decisions.
Wow.
What do you mean buying a car?
Interesting thought.
Yeah, I mean that's a good comment. I think the main key for me is that when people are in a business environment, there's a lot of pressure and a lot of high performance expectations on them. And that creates stress. It does. People are trying to do as much as possible and really affect certain results. And this relates right back to the key tension that started this class, which is that if you're a leader and you're in a position of authority and power, the expectations and responsibilities on you are higher and higher and higher depending on how far up the sort of ladder you get. Yeah. And at the top of the ladder, the people that have the most challenging jobs are the ones that have to make the toughest decisions and are under the most pressure and stress. So it's not surprising then that from time to time they make some bad decisions. Now, but I think, how do we prevent that? How do we deal with that? How do we create a less stressful environment? Are all questions that come into play here. Allison, you got another comment?
Well, can I just say, interrupt one thing? I hate to do this only because my students have to go, their exams and tests going on. It's the final week of the semester. Hold on, Nathan, just 2 seconds. I hate to do this, Ryan and Allison. I'm going to have to let some students go here who need to, okay? And we're going to continue a little bit and wrap it up for you in Dublin and also in Nigeria. But I just want to make sure that my students can get out to exams or wherever you need to go. So if you need to go now, it's okay. We're going to continue a little bit, okay? So, and then we're going to wrap it up as well, okay? So go ahead. Okay. Make sure they get off to their exams, okay?
Guy in the green jacket. I'll see you later.
That's Jesse. Jesse, okay, yeah.
Add her on Facebook, Allison.
At Durham College with exams. So it always comes back to stress. Crazy. Okay, so let's finish up and make sure that Allison, you have a chance, and also Shay, Ibrahim, and 5 more minutes? Yeah. But if you have to go, it's okay. All right? We're going to take a few more minutes.
Hello.
Okay, so go ahead. Allison or whoever. Patrick? Allison, go ahead.
Well, I think going back to the comment about people at the top of a company, I think a lot of the people who make it to high up positions in a company are better at managing stress, because it kind of getting to that level will, for lack of a better term, get rid of the weak people.
Really?
Well, I think it will make. I think people who get to a point of making important decisions, a lot of them are better at coping with stress because they've gotten to that point in a company.
I'm going to just break some news to you, Allison, to tell you one thing. Everybody knows this. There was a president of a large country called the United States, and his name was Bill Clinton. And Bill Clinton, who is a Rhodes Scholar and has made some very good decisions. His wife is now running for president. Unfortunately, Bill Clinton made some stupid decisions in the White House by having affairs with young interns. And we all, I think, know. In Nigeria, do you know what happened to Bill Clinton during his time? There was a whole scandal around his sexual misconduct. Yeah. So is it really true that a person who reaches a very high position actually manages pressure any better than you or I do?
It's not just that. It's also...
Yeah, it depends on the... I think it depends on the situation.
Okay. All right. I just wanted to challenge you a little bit on that. It's a great point. Okay, sorry. Do you want to finish, Allison, or anything you want to add?
Fair.
Okay. In Nigeria, Patrick, go ahead. Go ahead.
Like, anyone could get into an affair. Like, that's in a different. That's a different topic. Like.
Well, I'm going to tell you something. Bill Clinton is on the record as saying, and you can check this because I remember he said this. when it was discovered that he was having an affair and that he was having sex, oral sex, not intercourse, as he said, but oral sex with a young intern in the White House, and his semen was found on her dress, the famous, infamous dress of Monica Lewinsky. He said something like, you know, I was always so tired. You know, I made these decisions and I got involved with these affairs because I was just so tired at the end of the day. And a lot of it came down to my fatigue.
Anyone could say
and that to me indicates that Bill Clinton was having, at least in this particular case, which he described, an affair with someone, and he kept it secret. He was having it at the end of the day, and he was just tired, and his judgment was poor because he was tired. That to me indicates the person cannot handle the pressure of the job. What do you think? Do you think that's fair? Or am I mixing apples and oranges?
Like, are we trying to say him getting into an affair is gonna get in the way of him making decisions about the state of America?
No, I'm saying that the reason he acted unethically was because he couldn't handle the pressure of the job, and the pressure was making him tired. And because of his fatigue,
that's like a human.
He made stupid decisions.
Okay. No, we all make mistakes, right, in life. That's just humans, okay? You make different decisions when you're drunk, you make different decisions when you're sober, you make different decisions when you're stressed. When you're stressed, right? So he says that he's stressed, and that's the decision he made when he was stressed, okay? Running a country is different than being a manager in McDonald's, okay? So his stress level is totally different to someone who's, running McDonald's stress level, okay? So I have nothing against McDonald's, man, but I'm saying I'm using that as an example, right?
Yeah.
Someone in management in McDonald's could be really stressed because they've never had such experience or of such authority, or they're not used to their position, or they just have so much things going for them. But at the same time, someone who's running a country has 10 times of what they're doing, and they have to deal with this, they have to cope with this, they have to face people every single day. I mean, even when the president goes to sleep, he has to think about, things that he has to do, or go to meetings and stuff like that. What?
Sure.
Well, but the McDonald's manager has 9 to 5 or whatever, He can go home and not have to worry until the next day. Or if he can't do it, just stop with the mac and cheese. Or he can delegate the work to someone else, or ask for assistance and stuff like that. Well,
Claudia, I wake up at 3 a.m. sometimes, and I think about, damn, I told that student I was going to get back to them about the late marking on the assignment, and then there was that other student. Maybe I should have lowered the grade for that assignment, and that email that I didn't respond to. Damn, what are you talking about? We all, in positions of responsibility,
exactly.
But have to deal with
if you're in
stress.
such a position of responsibility, if you have such a level of responsibility, you have to be organized, or people who are organized for you and putting your priorities straight, work-wise. Personal-wise, that's your business. So if you have stress personally, and you're bringing that and mixing it with your work, that's you're going to make bad decisions because of that. And I'm just saying, it depends on the power you have, or the situation or position that you're in your workplace. Sure. So he can say that it's because of stress or because of tiredness why he made that decision, and no one can prove him wrong, because it's his own opinion, his own how he feels. But you cannot say that he had an affair, but that he's going to make bad decisions. But he's saying that he made that decision because of the stress he's under.
That's right.
But if you think he's lying, that's your opinion. But he just said what his opinion is. That's his truth, okay? So you can't say to him that he's wrong because Clinton, the lad, right? You could tell him that you can't say that he's wrong because you can't have affairs because you're tired and all that stuff. That's the decision he made. The decision he made under stress. Okay.
Okay. No, Claudia.
I'm talking about stress.
Claudia, can I stop you for a second? I just want to make sure you're making some great points, and it's really excellent, the contribution you're making. I want to make sure that Shay and Ibrahim and Bolaji have time to respond, because this is when a global class is terrific, when we can come alive with this kind of interaction and share these kinds of honest thoughts, and we can learn from each other. But first, I also want to remind us about time. Okay, so everyone's stressed and busy and has to go to places. Can we say for now that 5 more minutes? We're gonna kind of wrap it up, but we're gonna do this again. 2 minutes. Yeah, 2 minutes.
It'll
Okay.
only do 2 more minutes, yeah.
Okay, 2 more. So I'm gonna say that we're gonna end the class. We're gonna end, Allison, in the middle of a meal. And I'm going to take the plate away from you and from me now with the food still on it. And I'm going to keep the oven on, and I'm going to put the food in the oven and keep things warm, okay? So we're going to have another meal, I promise you. I want to thank Shay, I want to thank Ibrahim and Bolaji for, your patience with some of the technical hiccups today. Your contributions were great, and I look forward to doing another. See you, okay? And guys in Dublin, it's always a pleasure. And next time we'll make sure we have the battery and the microphone. But this is par for the course. We got going, and it's great. So we'll see you soon. And Ryan, thank you very much for your time.
Thank you to Bill Clinton.
Okay. And see you soon.
Shout out to my mom.
Guys?
Mama, I love you.
It's been a pleasure, everyone. Take care.
Okay. Bye.
Good.
Yeah, I'm me on Facebook.
At Patrick Jr.
Okay.
Up on Facebook.
Okay.